Good evening, Professor McAllister. Sorry if you hear my kiddo in the back. But I wanted to do my last final presentation for you instead of doing it in like a paper form, just to be a little bit different. So I wanted to focus on Chapter 7, which is creating an SEL school. So this chapter was important to me because I want to be an inclusive teacher and a teacher that does focus on SEL because it's very important to me and what I believe for my teaching philosophy. So what I knew before, I understood that SEL mainly as individual skills, emotion management, communication, conflict resolution. I mentioned to you before that I'm a very empathetic person. So SEL skills come naturally to me, and I'm a natural caregiver, especially because I'm a mom. So I have that natural urge to want to take care of other people, and that actually goes hand in hand with SEL. So I also knew that SEL matters for building strong relationship with students and, of course, my players on my soccer team. I think this is a very, very key thing that some teachers take lightly. Because I told you, my favorite video was the video Every Kid Needs a Champion, where she mentions that students won't learn from teachers they don't like. Because if you don't show that you care for these students, why should these students care to learn what you are teaching them? It's a two-way street, not a one-way street. I also recognize that students make better decisions when they feel supported. So this goes hand in hand with SEL and then actual content. They need to be thought of as equal partners because we only get the kiddos for 6, 7, 8 hours a day. We don't get to see what their home life looks like. Sometimes we don't get to know what they're going through because they're not sharing with us, or sometimes they do share it with us, and we see this big heavy things that they're going through. How can we expect them to learn if we don't help them the best we can to be emotionally content, to be able to grasp the concepts and the standards that we have to teach based on the state? I also believed that SEL happens mostly in the classroom when it doesn't. It happens everywhere. It happens in your own home. It happens out in the soccer field when I'm coaching. It happens when I'm teaching Sunday school. It happens everywhere. And it is something that teachers really need to grasp in order to connect with their students. So what I learned and what I applied. So I learned that SEL schools require coordinated policies, consistent routines, and community partnerships. I also realized that school culture influences students' decision-making, responsible behavior. So I put on here the whole child approach because they list 5 things here in the textbook on page 155. And all these things resonate with my teaching philosophy, but I was going to share one with you. I was going to share... Each student learns in an environment that is physically and emotionally safe for students and adults. So, of course, the physical aspect is true, but SEL is mostly connecting to the emotionally safe for students, because if a student doesn't feel safe, then their brain and their body is kind of in survival mode. And when your body is in survival mode, how do I expect them to master the content and learn their content when they're just worrying about other things? They're worrying about when's the next time they're going to get food to eat. They're worrying about when they get home, is one of their parents going to be drunk, or anything. We don't know what's going on outside of school, and school may be their only safe space. So it's our job to make them feel safe, to give them those 6, 7, 8 hours of relief, of emotional safety, because we don't know what their outside looks like unless they come and directly tell us. And it's very hard because a lot of kids won't come out and directly tell you because they want to protect their parents, protect their families, or they're scared of the consequences of telling somebody. What else? And I applied these concepts in my youth soccer practices, team agreements, positive communication. I do know they get little participation medals at the end of each season, and instead of just handing them out and putting them on them, I say one good thing about what they did when I put them on them. I say, hey, maybe you were the best goalie, put the medal on. Or, hey, you were the best defender this season, or you were the most positive, or the most team player. Even if their skills aren't great, or they're beginners, like, I made sure to tell them something positive, because that's what's gonna motivate them to want to play again next season and improve and be better, because you're telling them something that's good about them. You're making them feel good inside. I also use relationship building check-ins for Sunday school to support emotional safety. So these are more for kiddos that are in my class that are regular kiddos that I get to learn and get to know. I do have some foster kiddos in my Sunday school that I do check on regularly, and I connect with them here and there, because sometimes that's the only connection they can get. Also, I applied growth mindset and responsible choice strategies during tutoring sessions. So I just started tutoring about last month, and I have about 3 or 4 kiddos. And I'm really trying to teach, especially my older kiddos, because I have 2 fifth graders, to help them take ownership of their learning, because as they get older, there's less hand-holding by the teachers, and it's more them taking ownership of them doing their own learning. I also saw how intentional SEL environments help youth practice responsible behaviors across personal, school, and community contexts. So there's a lot that I still hope to learn. So I know as a future educator, I'm going to be a lifelong learner, and I'm always going to want to improve and get better and be the best possible teacher that I can be for these kids. I want to be a really an inclusive SEL teacher who values their emotional well-being as much as academic content. Excuse me. I want to focus on them conjointly, not separately, because they go hand in hand with each other. Like I said before, students are not going to be able to learn content and master content if they're not emotionally safe or stable. I also want to learn more strategies for helping diverse learners, like ELL learners, kids with IEPs, disability, ADHD. I also want to sustain these SEL practices over the long term in schools with limited resources. So I'm actually thinking about going back and teaching in my hometown school district that I went to as a kid, Richland School District. And that is a very immigrant-heavy community, and I want to be a positive representation to them as a daughter of an immigrant, that they can do great things, they can do hard things. And I'm also thinking about getting my certification for ELL students, so I can help immigrant students or children of immigrant students. I also want to make sure I want to learn how to design classroom environments where every student feels emotionally safe, seen, valued, heard, respected, and empowered. That is very, very central to my teaching philosophy. I want to make sure every child walks into my classroom knowing that they are safe, knowing that they are loved, and knowing that I see them and I respect their voice and their opinion. I don't want to be I think in one of the huddles we talked about a sage on a stage. I don't want to be that. I want to partner with them, next to them, not put myself up above them. I also want to partner with families and communities to reinforce responsible decision making beyond school. Family and community is vital for our students, because that is the backbone of not only who they are culturally, but also like for us to communicate positively, can't even say that word, for them to communicate positively with them and partner with them and know that I'm not just a resource or a partner for their students, but I want to be a resource for them as well, and I want to get them involved, because it's like the saying goes, it takes a whole village to raise a child. So connection to the course outcome. So this is the one I chose, that upon successful completion of this course, students will be able to compare decision-making skills and responsible behaviors in personal, school, and community contexts. So this is how what I learned kind of connects to that. So chapter 7 helped me understand how SEL is not just individual skills, but a system that shapes responsible behavior. So me coaching youth soccer, teaching Sunday school, and tutoring enabled me to observe how these SEL strategies support responsible choices across diverse settings and across diverse students. I observed how consistent routines, emotional safety, and positive communication help youth practice responsible behaviors in personal, school, and community environments. This chapter really expanded my ability to compare how context influences decision making and the supports needed for students to act responsibly in each setting. That kind of goes back to me and the tutoring and having my fifth graders be a little bit more ownership of their own learning and their own practicing at home, because I do tutor them for an hour a week, so I encourage them to practice at home without me also to get better. And I also encourage them to make mistakes, because making mistakes leads them to the path of getting it right in the future, because I would rather them make mistakes than be afraid to even try at all. And then strengthening SEL environments directly aligns with helping students grow into responsible, thoughtful members of their communities. And this is extremely important for me as wanting to teach sixth grade. I really, really want to help my students grow into who they are and to be productive members of society, because they're going into junior high, and junior high is a whole different game than elementary school. So I just left off with this picture because hopefully, well, I don't doubt it, but one day I'm going to be there and I'm going to make a positive impact. And I may not be perfect. I may make mistakes along the way, but I'm always going to give these kids my all. And I'm always going to continue to grow and improve and be the best that I can be for them. Thank you.